Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to a Blue Talks webinar powered by Stanbic IBTC. We are glad that you are here and we hope you are going to enjoy this session this afternoon. So today's webinar is a cybersecurity themed webinar, and the theme today is password management. Okay, how do you create passwords that are jail-proof? How do you use passwords? How do you secure your passwords? This is what we're going to be learning today, and we are sure that at the end of the session, you will be able to set up secure passwords and secure your digital life. In the comment section, I see that there are many people here. So can you just give me an example? Have you ever been scammed? Have you ever been hacked into? Or have you ever been almost, scammed? Maybe you weren't, but, you thought, okay, this was a close shave. Can you please give examples, in the comment section? It would be great. So let's have this conversation, because these are real life issues that happen to every one of us, in Nigeria now, even in the world at large. Everybody has something they're trying to protect. Your password is like a window, it's like a key, right, to your life, to your social life, basically. So if you do not have a password that is secure enough, it means that anybody can just come in and just, have access to that. And you don't want that. I mean, nobody wants to have an easy password that anybody can just guess. So just give an example. Collins here says he has never been scammed. That's pretty smart. That's good. Well done. Let's keep the comments going, please. If you've ever been scammed or you've known somebody that has been scammed, what kind of things did they do, right? It would be great to see comments here. We welcome everybody. Let's go. Let's get the comments coming on. Great. So I would give an example, right? Someone was saying that, or I saw something on Twitter that they saw a shopping link. So they went to purchase some goods on all these e-commerce platforms, and they clicked on the link, and the link was asking them to provide their bank login details. And the person took a step back, like, okay, this is not right, this is wrong. And I can imagine that if the person was not smart enough or cautious enough, the person probably would have entered his bank account details and possibly gotten scammed, because there is no way a shopping platform would request for your bank login details. It is not possible. The max will probably ask you to do is to create an account on that app and or that website for you to open and then purchase whatever things that you need to purchase. But entering your bank account login details, no, that is a very fishy thing, and you should be very careful. So I would like to hear any more examples. You don't know someone, or you've heard of someone, an example that you have, you'd like to share with everybody, so that we can all learn, because of course this is a learning platform for people. Let's all broad minds and see, so that everybody can also take learnings. Okay, things that you might not know these things today, but you can learn it here, and hopefully you take these learnings and even tell your people to at home, not just for you, because you spread the news to your friends and family. Okay, this is what to do about your password, this is what not to do. Okay, I'm very sure that you're going to learn a lot. Islamic IBTC is here for you. It can be. Let's all remember that. Great. Okay. We don't have any more comments right now. So in the meantime, I would like to introduce our speakers for today from Islamic IBTC. We have two speakers that will be coming up today. I'll be introducing the first person, Abayomi Oluwole. He is the head of information technology at Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers. Abayomi, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to be here. My name is Abayomi Oluwale.
Thank you very much, Abayomi. And our next speaker is Abumere Igwa. He's the Chief Information Security Officer at Stanbic IBTC Holdings. Hi, Abumere. Please introduce yourself.
All right, thanks, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Abumere Igboa, and I'm happy to be in your midst again. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Abumere. Thank you very much, and Abayomi. Still, we can still keep this going, guys. Let's share our experiences. If you've never been scammed, that's great. But what do you think? Okay, so let me ask a question now. How do you secure your passwords, right? What sort of methods do you use to make sure that, okay, the passwords you're using, they are proof, such that nobody can guess it? Could you write it down somewhere? Do you use any apps, special apps that help you to generate passwords? Do you use what, like maybe you use your fingerprint to access your account? Just give me, I just want to hear the kind of stuff that you people already use, so we can then, rub minds and also ask our IT professionals if they are safe, if there are things that they want to do, or they want to recommend, other options for you. Just share it in the comment section. I'll be glad to read it out. It's a fun experience. We're here to learn, okay? It's going to be a learning experience for each and every one of us. And I hope that we'll take much needed learnings. So great. I'm looking to read comments. Can we get comments, please? How do you secure your passwords? How do you ensure that you do not fall victim, of fraudsters or of people that might just want to use your accounts? When you think of passwords, it might not just even be for your accounts. People might want to get access to your accounts to even fake, like impersonate you exactly. So if someone gets into your email address now and sends an email out, whoever is receiving it is thinking is from you, and they might probably respond with even more information, responding because they're thinking they're responding to you since they can't see your face. These are things that we should be very cautious about. Are there any comments? Are there any questions? Anything in the comment section? Okay, we don't have right now, so I guess we can proceed, to the presentation. However, if you have comments, you have questions, you have anything that you'd like us to talk about related to the cybersecurity webinar, please drop your comments and questions in the chat box. And along the line, we'll be getting to it. Um, Hi, Abayomi. Would you like to share your presentation now? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon and welcome again, everyone, to another webinar on the importance of strong passwords and multi-factor authentication brought to you by Stanbic IBTC. And this is one topic I am quite passionate about. Have you ever wondered how easy it is for hackers to gain access to your personal information with weak password? Well, you are not alone. The truth is, a weak password is like an open door to your digital life, inviting cyber criminals to steal your data. In today's world where cyber threats are on the rise, it is essential to take every possible step to protect ourselves. And today we'll discuss the importance of using strong passwords and multi-factor authentication to safeguard our digital identity. So sit back, relax, and let's learn how to stay secure and secure our digital lives. Passwords are an essential part of every aspect of our life. We use them for almost everything from banking to online accounts, social media, even emails. However, we tend to overlook the importance of password security. And according to a report by Verizon, around 81% of security breaches occur due to weak or stolen password. And this highlights the need for secure password practices. We all have multiple passwords in different places for different accounts. Um, I tell you, weak or easily guessable password can compromise our personal and sensitive information. Creating a strong and unique password is crucial to ensuring the security and privacy of our online accounts. So password breaches are common and they can have really severe consequences. Sometimes you wonder if your password has been stolen in a data breach. It's a scary thought, but it's actually quite common. Unfortunately, many websites and services we use every day experience data breaches where hackers gain access to user passwords. But don't worry, there is a tool that can help you check if any of your passwords have been compromised in any data breach. It is called Have I Been Pwned? It is a website that keeps track of data breaches and lets you know if your email or password have been compromised. All you have to do is to go to those websites. It is displayed on the screen, https haveibeenpwned.com. Enter your email address. If your email has been involved in any form of data breach, the site will let you know which breach it's happened or where it occurred. And if your password has been compromised, this site will also tell you which breach it was involved in. In short, if you want to keep your passwords and account safe, Avibipon is an incredible tool to use. You should definitely check it out. So go ahead and give it a try. You might be surprised by what you find. But even if you see your email address there, I plead with you, change those passwords today, not tomorrow. So hardly a day passes that we don't hear news, have headlines about a security incident where an attacker stole a login credential, shut down of a major website, or somebody walked out with some confidential information or breach. Each of these incidents has a story to tell, and we are about to discuss some, relatable examples of fraud that can happen due to weak password. And I'll start with account takeover fraud. One of the most common type of fraud due to weak password is online financial account takeover frauds. Hackers often use software that can guess, break your passwords. And according to the UK cybersecurity reports, over 23 million people still use 12345 as their password. That's weird. And once an attacker has your password, it's very possible to, impersonate you, transfer money from your account, steal your identity, or cause any sort of financial damage. So it is crucial to use a stronger any password for your online account to protect yourself from this cyber type forms of attack. Another example is social media fraud. It happens due to weak password. Hackers will target your social media account to spread false information or spread malware. They can use those accounts to send fraudulent messages or links or something just to smear your reputation. I bet you don't want that to happen to you. And email fraud, I'm happy to explain email fraud due to weak password in a way that is easy to understand. So email fraud is when someone tries to gain an unauthorized access to your email account without your permission. This can happen for a number of reasons, but one of the most common reason is because your password is not strong enough. Then they gain access and they send fraudulent emails to people pretending to be from you. And these fraudulent emails can take many forms, but one common type is called the business email compromise, BEC. BEC is a type of fraud where the fraudster sends an email that appears to be from a legitimate business or organization, such as financial institutions or a supplier. The email might ask you to provide sensitive information like your retiree savings account numbers, your bank account numbers, your investment account, or any form of account, and sometimes even login credential. Or it might ask you to wire money to a fraudulent account. So it is important to be vigilant and to carefully scrutinize all emails that ask for sensitive information or that appears suspicious in any way. Identity theft. Impersonation are problems in real life and are also problems in the digital world. And I would explain this with a relatable scenario. So imagine you receive a call from a debt collector asking you to pay back a loan you never took out. You are confused because you know you didn't apply for the loan. I didn't apply for any loan recently. And that's quite strange. But they insist that they have all your personal information and they can prove it. Then it turns out to be that someone stole your identity and applied for a loan in your name. They use your password and other personal information to get the loan approved, leaving you to deal with the consequences. I would like to call on the Chief Information Security Officer, Abumere Ikua, to also maybe, share some of his thoughts in this regard.
All right, well done, Yomi, and good afternoon again to the audience. So I'm happy, Yomi, you've presented these examples because really, these are real life fraud events that occur and target customers. Maybe majority of our audience here have not been victims to this, but they really do happen out there. I think the message I just want to pass to the audience here, it's basically the fact that we need to be careful out there. We need to be careful in the way we share certain types of information in to the public, because these fraudsters are are active. They are working. They are looking for loopholes to be able to exploit target customers, target victims, and the message here is that these examples that Yomi has shared, they all relate. They can be unique in their own way, but in some other form, they all relate. You can start by carrying out a phishing attack against an individual. You share a malicious link. The individual clicks on that link. It comes up with a web page. It's requesting for your username, your password, your BVN. These are all crucial and vital information that can be used to impersonate a customer, or impersonate a target victim. And once the fraudster is done collecting that vital information via phishing, what the fraudster will proceed to is try to take over your account, and that's where account takeover comes into play. He was probably going to use the BVN, your user ID and password, log into your system, and try to change certain parameters so that he takes control of that account. And once he takes control of that account, what does that mean? He's done account takeover. He starts to carry out fraudulent transactions on your account. In another way, he's already impersonating you, and that leads to the last example Yomi gave on identity theft. So he's now stolen your identity. He's using the credentials that he has in his possession to carry out transactions on your behalf. He can go a step further, just like Yomi mentioned. He can go and engage any of the financial institutions and try to open fictitious accounts and then apply for loans or credits in your name. That's another form of identity impersonation or identity theft being used in practice. So I just wanted to share that these things relate. They are not unique alone in their way, just the way we've tried to break them down. But it's quite clear that it starts by us giving out information that is vital and valuable to the fraudster to be able to perpetrate these different types of fraud. So I just wanted to pass that message. We have to be extremely careful. We have to apply due care. We have to apply due diligence while we relate on social media. You see people asking for you to share account details so that they can credit you. A lot of times, these things are not are not are not with a good intention. And I think the other bit is you find yourselves in certain platforms where they are requesting for passwords, requesting for one-time passwords, requesting for secret keys. Stanbic would never ever ask you for those type of information online. So please, let's apply care, due care, when we find ourselves in such situations or positions. Thank you. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you very much, Abumere, and I mean that was very, very, very spot on. So let's discuss the password basics and how to, I mean, get passwords and have a strong password. So remember, your online security is your responsibility, and a strong password is your first line of defense. So the next time you are creating a password, make it strong. And typically, what are strong passwords? Strong passwords are a combination of letters, numbers, symbols, typically around 12 characters. The longer the password, the harder it is to guess. Another hygiene is change your password regularly. password can be stolen or hacked in many ways. For example, hackers can use phishing emails to trick you into giving away your password, or they can use software that guesses password until it finds the right one. So by changing your password regularly, you reduce the chances of hackers guessing or stealing your password. Avoid using personal information like your date of birth, your name, your maiden name, or your address as any form of password. These are often the first things that hackers will try when attempting to access your account. Instead, use a combination of letters, like I mentioned, numbers, symbols to create your password. And this will definitely be difficult to crack, but also remember to, something that is easy for you to remember. Um, Use unique password, and let me ask you a question. Have you ever used the same password for multiple accounts? If your answer is yes, you are not alone. Many of us have done this at some point, and it is not surprising considering the sheer number of online accounts we have to manage. Now, I agree that this is actually difficult to enforce. Like, you have to remember several unique passwords across several platforms. But it does provide a strong measure of security, because if you reuse the same password on different sites and one of the sites gets compromised, an attacker might test those passwords on other sites, and of course they would gain access. So they are valuable tools like password managers or secure password vaults you can use to keep the password unique and still stay protected. Some examples of password managers include LastPass, Bitwarden, Dashlane, and some of them are actually free. So please take advantage of them and make life easier while still protecting yourself. We'll discuss multi-factor authentication. We all agree that passwords are not foolproof, even if they are strong. And the use of password over the years, I've seen multiple improvements. And one of them is multi-factor authentication, which is now a very nice addition to this concept. I would like to bring this home with something relatable. Have you ever locked your front door only to realize that you left your keys inside? It is a frustrating feeling. You might wish you had an extra layer of security to keep your house safe from intruders, just in case someone managed to pick your lock or steal your keys. Nudge me with a thumbs up if that has happened to you. And I'll just maybe our sis to Abumere Igwa may have some relatable examples again. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Yomi. And I think the principle and concept you've just brought on board is quite apt. Multi-factor authentication. If we really look at where the world is heading today, the reality is that passwords are fading out very quickly and in a very rapid pace, and we need to also kind of align with that trend. Um, the reality is that with multi-factor authentication, it presents anyone, including member audience, our customers out there, it presents them with a higher level of security when they are trying to access any of our platforms or financial platforms that they utilize in their various spaces. But I think just to speak to that, I like that example you just mentioned, and the reality is that I think in one way or the other, a lot of us have been victims to that, and we've experienced that. So you end up um, implementing security in your house, and then you lock yourself out. You've What have you done? You've increased security, but at the same time, you've given yourself some level of dissatisfaction of the service. You no longer can gain access to your house, and that's where the whole principle of balancing security with service comes into play. We have to give our customers a good customer experience when we try to heighten security or boost confidence as they access our platforms. I remember in one of my experiences, I had this very same experience where I locked myself out, and it was an eye opener. So you just imagine me as a security professional locking myself out of my house, but it did happen. But it became an eye opener for me, and I think just the way technology has evolved, those type of forms of locks to your house also involved. So I was able to find a smart lock, and I installed that in the house. So in doing that, I was able to give myself a higher level of security because now I can use passcode and I can apply biometrics before I have access to my apartment. But what I've also done is to ensure that I never find myself in a situation where I cannot have access to my apartment again. And I think what the smart lock has also done, taking it a step further, is to even have a physical key. You understand that you can even use as a backup in the case that the codes and biometrics don't function very well. So it's always to make sure that we try to balance these things out. And I think we pride ourselves as Stanbic IBTC. We always make sure that we think of the customer. We put ourselves in the position of the customer when we try to roll out some of these enhanced capabilities that we provide on our platforms. We make sure that when we are doing this, we put those controls in the hands of the customer to be able to do them themselves. So there's self-service platforms that ensures that you can change your passwords in the event that you forget them, so that you don't deny yourself access to financial services in any way. But you can also apply biometrics so that you don't have to re-enter your passwords anytime you want to access the financial system. So these are ways we have tried to improve security, and in another way, try to give a much more enhanced experience to our customers. So I just wanted to share that view and try to relate to what Yomi, the example Yomi had presented. So over to you, Yomi. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Abumeri. And I love that example about locking yourself out of your home. Thank you. So, next time you're asked to provide an extra layer of security, remember that it's like having a backup lock on your door or a smart lock, like Hapo rightly said, to keep your information safe. So, multi-factor authentication is an important tool to protect your account, your data, your identity from cyber criminals. We have these functionalities enabled on our channels, our websites to protect our customers at all time. Um, in conclusion, so we'll be able to take some questions. Strong passwords and multi-factor authentication are critical components of effective cybersecurity or cyber hygiene. And by creating complex password and using additional layers of authentication, we can protect our personal information, sensitive data, online identities from cyber threats. Remember to use unique password for each account. Enable multi-factor authentication whenever it's possible. It's available on even most of the social media websites and email accounts. Stay vigilant and about potential security breaches. You can always check the avibeinpond.com earlier mentioned. So by implementing this best practice, we can ensure that our online presence remains secure and protected. So stay safe, stay secure, and remember to always keep your password strong and your authentication multi-layered. I would let Habumiri just wrap it up for us. And over to you, Habumiri.
All right, thanks, Yomi. Very nice presentation, and I think we've been able to kind of send the right message home to our audience and our customers that have joined us on the call. And I think I'll just take it from that last slide that you shared. So I think it's quite those steps are very critical and they are kind of um, key focus steps that audience need to pay very close attention to because it's all about having the right behavior um, to be able to keep yourself safe. If you don't perform proper password hygiene, if you don't use complex passwords, and if you don't avoid using public Wi-Fi's, if you don't share your passwords, if you don't turn on multi-factor authentication, if you don't change your passwords at the right time or at the right at the right frequency, these things you most likely would fall victims to them. But I think one thing that is quite key it's how do we then ensure that we don't easily help or assist the fraudster to make the job easier for the fraudster. So my first take is don't put out your sensitive or valuable information in the public, whether it's social media platforms, whether it's you joining forums or other um, collaboration platforms. Try to avoid putting out very sensitive and valuable information out there. So I think on that note, I would end it up by saying, or wrap it up by saying, turn on multi-factor authentication as much as you can, whether it's your email accounts. Email accounts might not be in a way very valuable to you readily, but the issue is it helps the fraudster, you understand, to be able to carry on with his technique or his fraud activities. Imagine the fraudster gaining access to your email accounts and then reaching out to your contacts on your behalf. You're already making it very easy for that activity to go on positively. So I think the message is turn multi-factor authentication on as much as possible, whether it's financial or non-financial platforms. Just protect your identity out there. So I would end it on that note. And it was a pleasure being part of this session again once more. Thank you to the audience.
Thank you very much, Abayami and Abumere. That was lovely. I'm glad that you guys have spoken very well, and we are glad to have you people join us. So there are a couple of questions in the comment section, and I would like to um, address it. So someone is asking at the beginning. Someone asked that is it possible to log into your bank app without a debit card? I'd like to give that. Who would like to answer that? Is it possible to gain access to your account without your debit card?
Yes, I'll take that. So I think probably if you're referring to login, yes, you can log in without a debit card. But if you're referring to onboarding, it's where you are now going through a process to own or have an account with the bank. There are stages where um, uh, you are being requested to provide your card, but that is just one approach to onboarding. So yes, you can log into our platforms without necessarily using a debit card. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. Someone also asked for the link to check if one's account has been compromised. I bet me mentioned that before. I think it's I have been pawned. Can you just spell it out so that whoever needs that can take note of that now? The link.
Okay, it is https avibinpon.com. So I'll spell the avibinpon HAVIBENPWNED.com. I
Okay, great.
guess
So thank
that's
you very
clear.
much. So I'm sure that they can even pin it to the chat so that people can see that over there too. Um,
Awesome.
Yeah, I think
Great,
that's
thank you
better.
very much. So, someone was asking, how do we ensure that threats are dealt with before they become real time? I think this was in response to what you said about there are threats of security. So before the threats even come live, before they are, how do you deal with them back end before they become live?
Okay, so I'll speak to that again, basically, and I think I would also provide my response in context to what the threat type is. So there are different threat types out there, but those that target financial platforms, I think the most important thing for us is to be able to pick such behavior before that behavior crystallizes into financial loss. And we have a team in-house that is solely responsible for monitoring our systems real time, 24 by 7. And basically what they do is to look out for those behaviors that could crystallize into potentially fraud or into some form of breach that could impact our customers. So the role of that team is to pick up this kind of suspicious behaviors earlier, and then take certain countermeasures to ensure that they don't crystallize in a particular incident or crystallize in a particular fraud event. So yes, we have a team that monitors on a regular basis. Thank you.
Great. That is great. Thank you very much. There was a question here, but I think she got it along the line. She was saying that thank you. Are you saying that multiple authentication is safe? I got a contrary view some times ago. Then she went on to say thank you for the clarification. But so can you just speak a little on that? MFA, what's your view on that? What do you recommend? What do you advise people to do?
Eh, Yes, and thank you. I mean, and that was a very, very, very good question. Um, Instead of relying on just one factor like a password to verify your identity, multi-factor authentication requires at least two different factors to prove that you are who you say you are. And it could be even three. So could be something you know, which is password typically, then something you have, which are things like your hardware token, smart card, OTPs that drop on your phones and all those, or something you have, which are things like your fingerprints, your facial recognition, your palm print voice recognition. So a combination of all these factor authentications makes it extremely difficult. I mean, for someone to, I mean, hijack your password. I mean, if they're able to penetrate one, it's now makes it very difficult to, I mean, to be successful at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Abayomi and Abumere. Okay, someone is requesting for the link. Okay, we would pin the link very soon to the chat box. It's just scrolling chat so that you can see it there. Another question that we would like to ask is, trying to scroll. How do you? Okay, we already answered that now. Great. So, okay, I would like to ask my own question now. How often do you recommend that we change passwords? I think you mentioned, okay, you should always make sure your passwords are secure, but what is the frequency? What frequency would you advise, for changing passwords and setting passwords?
Thank you, Adetutu. And that was another very nice question. Okay, so I'll say that best practice password should be changed between 3 to 6 months as best practice. Um, but sometimes if you feel there's a compromise or you have a feeling that this password has been compromised or somebody else has access, you change it immediately. And Abumiri, I see you nodding your head. Maybe you want to add a few.
No, so I mean you've just hit it on the hit the nail on the head. Yeah, so I think for best practice, a period of 3 to 6 months, within a period of 3 to 6 months, it's advisable. But like Yomi mentioned, once you just feel that any of your accounts have been compromised, then you just that's an ad hoc action. You go ahead and change your passwords. But I think the other bit is considering the use of multi-factor authentication. It's kind of changed the dynamics around how um, long people keep passwords, because of that heightened level of security. In the standards are changing gradually. People now even keep their passwords up to a year before they change their passwords. It's just to kind of give you a sense of how and powerful MFA is if it's used in the right way. Because I go back to that earlier question that talked about having multiple authentications. If you are doing password, that's not that's not multi-factor authentication. Sorry about that. So let's just get it right when we refer to multi-factor authentication. And really, it does give some bit of assurance to customers to be able to extend the duration in which their passwords actually last. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. So, in just to quickly respond to you, um, what do you think about biometric authentication? Right, speaking about authentication, I think using biometrics, fingerprints, facial recognition. What do you think of it? Do you advise it? Do you think it's preferable than to using passwords? Please give us your opinion. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, in my view, I think biometrics is a much more safer and secure way of authenticating. We're not saying it doesn't have its own challenges when it's being used. There's also been evidence that it can be bypassed in some way or the other. But these are much more advanced ways of advanced tactics in breaching security. But like I said, it's a much more secured way of transacting or logging on to systems. And really, the ease of use also makes it even much more welcomed. um, Other than trying to remember multiple passwords, or people um, exposing themselves to the risk of unauthorized access to their accounts, because they store their passwords either by writing it down or storing it on their phones or somewhere that is easily visible. Um, Biometrics just makes it very easy. You place your thumb, you do your facial recognition thing or voice recognition options. So those are not things that change on a regular basis. So I think basically makes ease of use very very good. So it's something customers would welcome, um, and gives them some better comfort. Thank you.
Thank you, Abumiri. I love the way you, address that question. Around the ease of use. Why spend time manually typing passwords when you can simply authenticate by being who you are, like my face. So, and truly it is considered as one of the most secure authentication due to its high level of accuracy. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Over to you, Adetutu.
Great, thank you. The audience is, coming up with so many other questions. Someone is asking that some websites ask you to answer a security question to be used if you forget your password. Should you use the same question all the time? And I think that I would even be interested in, because they might say, "Oh, what is your mother's maiden name?" For instance, I think that's a popular one. Or what was your best friend? Is it advisable to use the same question? So you have the same answer, or do you like us to use different ones? Some would even ask you to create a custom question, right? So what's your opinion on that, please?
Okay, so I'll say that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just go for it and let Abu Mary just wrap. So my thoughts, and this is my thoughts. I'll say that it is always good to, use something unique across board, because when this security question gets compromised, then it also affects some other accounts that you may have. But maybe some of the sites would also have some level of other authentication methods built into them. I believe a security question is, just one to authenticate that the right person is a authorized person that has legitimate access to the account is the one trying to, take those transactions or, from my point of view. So I'll move it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Yomi, and thanks for responding. I think, in my view, this this is a way to kind of balance security and customer experience, and the whole password um, landscape has transitioned over time. So in the past, this was what was predominant. When you try to recover your passwords, and you lock yourself out of the systems. Um, we, like I mentioned earlier, there are much more better self-service ways to recover your passwords today. And this is just one form that is still being used till today, to help achieve that purpose. So if you have to use this particular approach in trying to recover your passwords, my advice is that there should be another additional layer, or additional form of authentication that should be used alongside with it, so that as much as possible, it's used in combination to get to be sure that the password that you use
Great, thank you very much for that. Right now, I would like to ask another question. Right, as a Stanbic IBTC customer, what can I do in case my account has been compromised, or if I suspect that my account has been compromised? What things can I do to ensure that my account is safe? Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question, and I think that it's a very, very important question that we must address. Um, at Stanbic IBTC, we have implemented. We pride ourselves in being innovative and customer driven. We You can dial the star 909 hash and follow the prompts to block or freeze your account in an attempt of fraud. In addition to that, you can also reach us on any of our contact us email address or phone numbers, and we would, promptly deal. Thank you.
That is wonderful to know. Thank you very much. Also to note that you can dial star 909 star 37 star your phone number hash to block your accounts from any mobile number, right? So if your bank account has been compromised, just dial star 909 star 37 star phone number hash, the phone number you used to access your account from any mobile number, follow the prompts and your account will be blocked such that you have to come into the bank to reactivate it so that no one can have access to your account. So another question I would like to ask is, if I have a strong password, I think my password is strong enough. Can I reuse it across multiple accounts or a website or anything? Since I feel it's strong enough, or do I need to create multiple strong passwords across board? What do you think? Please give us your opinion.
Okay, so Tutu, I don't advise that. It's not recommended. Your password should be unique for use, and not across multiple systems. If you have to do that, then you have to ensure that you have multi-factor authentication in addition to that. Thank you.
Yes, and because we've also established that strong passwords are also are fallible. I mean, it has been proven that it is not enough to protect you. So it's always
Yeah.
advisable to enable multi-factor authentication at all times, in addition to strong passwords.
Mm.
Thank you very much. I hope the audience is listening. In addition to your strong password, you still need multi-factor authentication. It's never too much. You need to safeguard yourself, safeguard your passwords, safeguard your identity, your social identity, your digital identity. Another question that I would like to ask now is that in December, my phone was lost and I had to get a new phone. And before I could access the new accounts, there was something that I was seeing on the Islamic IPCC mobile app was called hardware binding, device binding, right? And it's the way I understood it is like I couldn't access the new my account on this new phone because it was already linked to a profile on another device, right? As a layman, I'm not a tech person. It was annoying, but in hindsight, I know that that's a really important security feature to ensure that multiple people can just someone else can just sign into my account on another device. So I'd like you to explain it to us. As per we're not tech people, the tech gurus. Can you please explain it to us so that we can understand the reason behind this feature that will even help us basically? Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Tutu, again once more. And you've just helped us there to see that we're preventing other people from utilizing your account. So it's a measure, a way to avoid identity theft or accounts takeover. And really, why this feature or capability is brought in play um, in financial transactions, it's just because we've seen that as technology has evolved, technology also came with its own risk. So the use of mobile devices has come to stay. It's being used for carrying out transactions, but it's also had its own challenges. We've seen where certain organizations have attempted to use a mobile device to identify a customer, and that's just because of this whole transition to digital platforms. You are no longer physically there for us to verify. We have to utilize certain type of information that we get from you to be able to verify that you are the one actually carrying out these transactions. So I think from that standpoint, technology brought about its own challenges, and we had to make sure that in carrying out transactions, the identity that initiates that transaction is the right legitimate person or individual. And in order to be able to do that, you need to then also put these measures to make sure that the transactions are originating from the right legitimate device, and you don't have um, the fraudster and the legitimate user also initiating transactions at the same time to the same bank. So I think these are measures that we've put in place to kind of help to curb those kind of behaviors or suspicious behaviors, we call it, and we've learned over time to get to this point. Thank you.
Yes, that's it. And I mean, I love that question. So, like Habu rightly said, device authentication is another key layer to ensure that you have secure access. And trust me, binding can reduce fraud because your device is also authenticating. And with these additional measures like identity proving, we can avoid many types of fraud that rely on gaps in identification and remote access. Thank you.
Okay. Grace, thank you very much. I'm sure that the audience has learned now the reasons why we put in these security features on our apps, such that to protect you, to ensure that we verify that whoever is logging into your account is the authorized device to do so. Great. Someone I think has clicked on that link, the Have I Been Pawned link, and she got this feedback. Said, "Oh no, pawned in 3 data breaches and found no paste." So she's asking the meaning of that, and as our tech bosses, I would like you to give us, the meaning of this, please. Can you please explain this to us in layman terms? Not as tech professionals now, as common Nigerians. Can you please explain the meaning of this to us?
Okay, I'll take that as in a layman. I'm also a layman. All right, so it just means basically that your account has been, compromised in three different data breaches that has occurred. Um, the no paste is there has not been any way that they can confirm if the your password has been shared in any platform. But truth is that account has been compromised. So I would strongly recommend that you change those passwords to those accounts immediately.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Yomi, it also could mean that while your accounts are involved in data breaches, there's really um, no data that has been collected or exposed as a result of that breach. So that's why you don't have any pastes there. Normally, when data breaches occur, what the fraudsters try to do is copy the data that's been involved in that breach and paste it for public view or public access. So finding no paste means that it's not they've not been able to get any information out there as a result of that breach. Yeah.
Thank you, Abayomi and Abumere, for breaking that down as much as possible. I understand that, and it has been lovely. It has been wonderful to listen to you from the beginning. I hope that the audience has learned how to safeguard your passwords, the use of password managers, the use of multi-factor authentication, and to learn that at Stanbic IBTC we are here to help you. If you have any need for us, please reach out to us. There's a link that's been pasted in the chat box. Please click on that link and give us your feedback and give us questions. We'll reach out to you as soon as possible. And please remember that to block your access to your Islamic IBC bank account in case of a compromise or fraud, just dial *909 *37 phone number hash from any mobile number and follow the prompts and your account will be blocked. It has been lovely listening to you guys and watching your comments and questions in the group in the chat here. We value you. We appreciate you for attending this webinar. But someone said more of these sessions. Definitely watch out for the second edition of the cybersecurity webinar, and we would publicize it on our social media platforms. It has been lovely listening to your questions. Thank you very much for all being so participating. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.